Today I'm going to be talking all about watering strategies to end our summer and get into the fall as we start to grow grass seed. So let's get out of the weeds. If you like the lawn tips and the videos that I put out, please subscribe to this channel because it really does help. I appreciate all of you for watching. So now as we're getting in here to the middle of August, we're in some of our hottest temperatures, maybe not as much rain as we were seeing. I know for us here in Indiana, it's been a wet summer, but now we've had a dry spell. But the temperatures now are cranked up, little to no rain, and now you're starting to see the lawns around the area start to suffer. So today I'm going to be focusing on, okay, what can we do watering wise to keep your lawn green for these next few weeks until we kind of start getting into our fall temperatures where we're really going to attack it in our fall renovations. When it comes to our cool season lawns, they're going to require between 1 inch to 1.5 inches of water, sometimes even more depending on the weather that you're getting. Now, if you're like what we are here, where we've been high 80s pretty much every day, full sun and no rain here for a little bit, you're going to have to err on the higher side, maybe even a little bit more, if you want to keep your cool season lawn green. Cool season grass tends to kind of start tapping out at sustained temperatures above 85 degrees. So if you start looking out at the next 7 days and you're seeing above 85 and sunny, you better watch out because your lawn can go dormant really fast if you're not on top of it. So for my typical watering schedule that I keep throughout the year, just my baseline that'll start in the spring, is I will try to put down 1/2 inch of water 3 times a week to give me about 1.5 inches of water. Then as it gets into the summer, I may have to extend my watering times out a little bit as I see kind of how my lawn is doing. Now your lawn won't just go from deep dark green to brown in an instant. It's going to take a couple days as it kind of transitions over into summer dormancy. So now if I look out at my lawn and I've been watering 3 times a week and my lawn's still not looking good, this is a key indicator that, okay, it's time to bump it up again, maybe add an additional watering or just go a little bit deeper with my waterings. Then, as we start to come off of summer, you're going to easily be able to pull it back a little bit because the temperatures are going to start to drop. What you want to do is water deep so that the grass roots will chase that water and build deeper, stronger roots to sustain a nice, beautiful yard. Now, this is going to be a lot different when it comes to actually growing grass seed, which we're going to be getting ready to do a lot of our fall renovations here in the next month or so. When it comes to grass seed, you want to just water more often and water shallower, because what you're wanting to do is keep that grass seed wet so that it can get established, and then once it gets established, go back to your deep and infrequent watering. So the thing is, how do you figure out how to get that 1/2 inch of water down? The thing I've talked about many times on this channel is I'll go and buy a bunch of rain gauges or get some tuna cans or some canned chicken, mark them at 1/2 inch, and sit them out in your different zones where you're putting a sprinkler or your irrigation system. Let it run for 15 or 20 minutes and see where it's at. If it's at the 1/2 inch after that, then you know that's the right amount of time to run that zone. If it's only halfway there, then double it, and then that's going to be your time. So it's an easy way to gauge how much water you're putting out. You don't want to just go and guess, just let it run for 20 minutes and assume that it's going to be right. You want to get it dialed in, and then that can just be your go-to. Write down those times and save them in your phone so that then year after year, you know kind of a good baseline to start to get 1/2 inch of water down on your lawn. So now the next question is, okay, we're in survival mode with our lawn. When's the perfect time to get ready to do our fall renovations and put down some grass seed to really make some gains in our lawn? Well, what you want to look for is you want to look for soil temperatures getting down to around 70 degrees in your area. Now, to find this out, there's a simple tool I'll use online called Greencast Soil Temperatures. You can put in your zip code, and then you can go and look at historical data, 5 to 10 year averages of when does it actually get down to around 70 in your area. So if you see here on the screen, this is for the area that I live in. You can see in the middle of July, we're kind of getting into our peak here, the July into early August, and then it's going to start its way back down. Now, when it starts its way back down and gets to around the 70-degree mark, typically around between the 1st and 3rd week of September. What this range is going to do for you is it's going to allow you to put down grass seed and get it established when the temperatures aren't as hot as what they were, but you're still long enough away from our first frost of the year, which will take out the good grass seed. So it's kind of that perfect window of opportunity to get grass seed down, get it planted and established, and then the first frost can hit and your grass is ready to go for overwinter. If you go too early in the season, you're going to have a really hard time growing the grass just because the temperatures and weather are just completely working against you. If you go too late, you're not going to have your grass get established quick enough before we get the first frost. So whenever you go and look at that soil temperature and find that kind of date range for when your soil temperatures get to around 70 degrees, that's going to be the optimal time to plant grass seed and make great gains on your lawn. Now, I talked about watering more shallow and frequently when it comes to grass seed. The number one thing that people mess up when it comes to growing grass is not keeping it consistently wet. For the first 3 or 4 weeks, you want to keep that grass seed wet. Do not let it dry out. So what I'll typically do is shoot for watering it about 3 times a day. 1 in the morning, 1 around midday, and 1 more in the afternoon. Now these don't have to be long waterings like you would your normal grass. Just keep it for like 10-15 minute periods. Keep it wet and moist. You just don't want to let it completely dry out. And you're going to see big results when it comes to your germination. When it comes to fall renovations, we're all going to be in a little bit different places. Some of you already have a beautiful, lush, thick green lawn, so you may not really even be aerating or overseeding. If your lawn is really thick and nice, sometimes it's not the best idea to overseed. I know it can be easy sometimes where we want to do something, but my lawn at my old house, I used to overseed, and I would notice that I would get in the spring, I'd actually start getting some die off just because the new grass seed really couldn't compete. So I'd look in the spring sometimes and I would get kind of brown, and it was here it was just some of the grass seed just not being able to compete with itself, and I would just actually get some die off in the spring. So sometimes if you have a really thick, lush green lawn, then you may not even need to really overseed. You could just aerate in the fall and be good to go and just fertilize good and really just push your lawn. For the next kind of set of people, if maybe you have a lawn that's mostly grass, some weeds, but it's not really that thick, then aerating and overseeding is probably going to be your best strategy. What you can do is either get a hold of a local company and have them do the aeration, or for a couple $100 you can get an aerator and a trailer and kind of do your own lawn. For me, it's always kind of been a thing. I mark on the calendar right around Labor Day in our area here to go get an aerator, and I go and do me and my buddies' lawns, and we kind of do our seeding and everything there and just kind of make a fun day of it. So if you're an adventure, that's a great way to kind of get into doing the aeration yourself. If you're kind of in that strategy with overseeding, but you have a pretty established lawn that's just not that thick, what you want to do now over the next few weeks as you get closer to your window is start to work your grass down a little bit lower, because after you overseed in that, you want to try to stay off your lawn as much as possible. But your good grass is going to want to really start growing hard because you're fertilizing and doing everything to your lawn, making it want to grow, but you also have that grass seed that you're trying to get established. So what I like to do is start to work my grass down a notch or two. That way it kind of gives me a little bit more of a buffer room to let that new grass get established and catch up. Because what you'll find is if you leave your grass long, it's harder for that new grass to get established, and also going to be a shorter amount of time before you're going to have to mow it again. Then lastly, there's going to be some of you that don't have any lawn at all, or you're going to burn the whole lawn down and start from scratch. Now, if you're kind of in that category, then it's going to look even a little bit different for you. If you don't really have good grass competing with it, what you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to make a nice, good seed bed. Make sure your lawn's nice and level. Put down any kind of topsoil you want. Get it down. Make a nice seed bed. Seed, fertilize, get the whole everything down in there, which I will be doing videos on all of the steps that I do for growing grass seed. But what you're going to do is you're going to be able to easily just stay off of it, keep the grass seed wet, and then you're going to easily see the grass start growing because there's no good grass there. And so stick around with this channel over the next few weeks as I cover all things fall renovation, including growing grass seed, picking the right grass seed for your lawn, aeration, overseeding, all the things that you're going to need to have a beautiful lawn in the fall and kind of transition into the end part of our year. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time when we get out of the weeds into a beautiful lawn.